Gun Control, Joey Davis and Tradarius Langston. Oh, it's loading. What is gun control? Gun control is a set of laws or policies that regulate the manufacture, sale, transfer, possession, modification, or use of firearms by civilians. In other words, gun control gives our government full authority over our Second Amendment right to bear arms. Our point of view. We believe that gun control doesn't get the job done if we relate it to shootings and violence. Even though there are numerous laws that prohibits the illegal possession of firearms, this doesn't stop criminals from acquiring weapons. This raises concerns on how we will protect ourselves in the event of a life crisis. Gun control doesn't keep firearms out of the hands of criminals, it keeps them out of the hands of mentally stable, good-hearted citizens who have concerns for their safety. Gun control does not stop crime. No matter how many laws, regulations, policies, etc. are put into place, criminals and wrongdoers will find a way to get their hands on firearms. Chicago is an unfortunate example of this. Chicago has the most highly amplified gun control laws in the United States. However, in 2016, 762 firearm fatalities along with 4,331 shootings occurred in Chicago alone. So far this year, Chicago has already experienced 3,862 shootings. Whether that be one victim homicides or mass fatality shootings, one is already too much. Criminal sources for guns. A study done in 2004 on state prisoners who possessed guns during their crimes revealed the sources of where they got their firearms from. 40% of them said that they got their weapons through an illegal street source, 37.4% through family or friends, 7.3% at a retail store, 2.6% at a pawn shop, 0.8% at a gun show, and 0.6% at a flea market. The picture to the right is a picture of what a gun show looks like. Private owners will come out with their weapons, and usually whenever they sell their guns to customers, like those three men over there, they don't really do background checks. They just sell the guns to them. It's just like Trader's Village that's in Arlington, or like a flea market, like one of the things said. Guns' effectiveness in situations and on people. Guns prevent around 2.5 million crimes a year, or 6,849 every day. Most often, the gun is never fired, and no blood is actually ever shed. Every year, 400,000 life-threatening violent crimes are prevented using firearms. 60% of felons admitted that they avoided committing crimes when they knew the victim was armed. 40% of felons admitted that they avoided crimes when they thought the victim might be armed. Felons report that they avoid entering houses where people are at home because they are scared of being shot, and less than 1% of firearms are used in the commission of crime. The importance of the Second Amendment. As I have stated previously, crime will almost always occur. It is relentless and a problem that we have yet to overcome for a while now. We as citizens must be able to practice our Second Amendment right at any moment when absolutely needed. The first step to stopping crime and the best wall of defense we have is ourselves. Owning firearms can lower crime. Here's one of the examples. In 1982, Kennesaw, Georgia passed a law requiring heads of households to keep at least one firearm in the house. As I've said before, this is a prime example that personal ownership of a firearm can lower crime. Here's the effect of that. The residential burglary rate subsequently dropped 89% in Kennesaw compared to just 10.4% drop in Georgia as a whole. Today, the violent crime rate in Kennesaw is still 85% lower than Georgia's or the national average. Owning firearms can lower crime continued. This chart reveals the comparison of the number of privately owned firearms to the gun homicide rate since 1994. As the number of privately owned firearms increased, the gun homicide rate decreased significantly. You see on the right here, the light blue line is the privately owned firearms, and the dark blue line is gun homicide rate. And it's just crazy how big of a margin there is there, like over the years. You see, as the light blue line, it's just a constant increase of privately owned firearms, and the gun homicide rate, it's kind of like it decreases, but then it just like it's not really consistent, but it's obviously lowering over the years. Mass shootings have increased over the years. The number of mass shootings have significantly increased since 1996. Did you know that every 47 days since 2015, 4 or more people are killed due to a mass shooting? Imagine how much that number would decrease if more people had a personal carry-on firearm. As previously mentioned, all gun control will do is take guns away from law-abiding citizens and leave them unprotected against the dangers of active shooters. Although this wasn't the intention for gun control, many have to realize that criminals don't follow the rules. They will find one way or another to get their hands on firearms. They're really persistent. Guns in daily life. Americans own guns for all sorts of reasons, and the ways in which they use their guns are not all entirely the same. Guns and gun users differ depending on the demographical, social, and attitudinal elements of their atmospheres. To the right, there's an article on Pew Research Center, and it shows the bar graphs of all these of the percentages of people and what they do. Philosopher's quote that relates to our topic. Martin Luther King was our philosopher for this project, and we chose a quote from his letter from Birmingham jail, and it reads, "One has a moral responsibility to disobey unjust laws." And the meaning of what that and how that relates to our topic. When King had written this in his letter from Birmingham jail, he was explaining that not all laws are created equal. King was trying to infer that if a law is unjust, it is okay to not obey it. This quote relates to our topic because if gun control took our firearms, it would become unjust. In the event that one's life is in danger because there is a gun pointed at them, they not only have the right but the obligation to protect their life, even if it is against the law. And I really agree with that, because if gun control takes your guns away, and as I've said almost 3 times now in this presentation, that criminals will always find a way to find weapons, it's basically just like a death sentence. I mean, like you just have to you have to protect yourself, like no matter what. You just always have to, because life is more important than a law. And if there's no way to protect yourself in that situation, there's really not much you can do. You just gotta do what you gotta do to protect yourself, And I just believe that we should keep our Second Amendment rights, and gun control, or government involvement with our firearms should be kept at a minimum. Thank you.